The year is 2014. We had the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, we had This Kid.
It was great! And apparently
Germany won the World Cup, and this was the #1 song of the year. But outside of the other events going on in the world, 2014 was also the best year in film history. From being at the peak of the MCU to modern day auteurs making their best work. I'm just glad I got to watch some of these films in the theaters. So in 2014, I was just a teenager and I wasn't into films as much as I am today. But 10 years later, many of this year's films are still some of my personal favorites. Let's start with a top 5 film of mine, Damien Chazelle's Whiplash. This took the Sundance Film Festival by storm, garnering critical acclaim as an indie darling. Following a jazz drummer that has a knack for greatness, his ambition is tested by his terrifying instructor, played by the great J.K. Simmons.
Now, are you a rusher or are you a dragger? Or are you gonna be on my time?
Like truly one of the best performances of the century. I ended up watching this film back in like 2018 when I was expanding my movie palette, but it really took me in from the very opening shot to that awe-dropping ending performance. I ended up watching so many YouTube videos on this film's amazing qualities, from the ending, acting, cinematography, and obviously the music components. This was the first feature film by Damien Chazelle, who went on to make even bigger hits, with his next one being La La Land, making him the youngest Oscar-winning director. We then go down to my favorite film of all time, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. This movie made me realize that film could be more than just a piece of entertainment, but can fully immerse you in a story and allow you to think beyond the realms of the everyday. Okay, that was a little bit too deep, but Nolan outdid himself with this personable yet out of this world story that holds great pieces of practical effects mixed with surreal visual effects, and the best score in the career of the GOAT, Hans Zimmer. This year also gave us this out of nowhere film in Nightcrawler, which I found through Redbox rentals. Do you guys remember those, like the ones in 7-Elevens? Still an underrated film in my opinion, which follows the creepy yet ambitious freelance cameraman played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He goes berserk in this film, making the most offsetting character decisions in order to get the right shot. The great acting is complemented with an Oscar-nominated tremendous screenplay by writer and director Dan Gilroy. But guess what? Jake Gyllenhaal didn't even get nominated at the Oscars. The Academy did, however, rightfully nominate another disturbing performance from Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. Another Mount Rushmore director and David Fincher helming the film, which follows a public overzealous couple that more so makes you question what's happening off the screen than on. And that iconic ending made everyone reflect on the absurdity of that 2.5 hours you watched. Another great addition to Fincher's impeccable film slate. Now, outside of my personal favorites, which had amazing film qualities along with that movie magic we all long for, there were also amazing popcorn flicks that I'd rewatch consistently. The MCU struck gold with these Phase 2 gems in Captain America the Winter Soldier and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Captain America's trilogy is so good, and this might be the best film of the three. The thing is, it doesn't follow the stereotypical superhero film narrative. It dives into dark espionage tropes that audiences didn't expect Marvel to dive into. Like some of the best action pieces I've seen. Your eyes are just glued to the screen whenever that Winter Soldier theme came on. You knew some badass action was coming after you heard that chilling theme. And then we moved to kind of the polar opposite of the MCU with the Guardians of the Galaxy, an unknown group of characters in Marvel which honestly was the most fun to sit through. From the diverse characters which each had something unique you liked about them, to the timeless comedic moments, and obviously that amazing soundtrack.
Listen, baby,
Ain't No Mountain High Enough at the end, so good. James Gunn set himself apart with this film, arguably making him the most valuable director in the superhero genre. We'll see what he has to offer after taking the helm at DC. But sticking with genre films, my guilty pleasure from 2014 was Maze Runner. I really was into the world building and the straight mysterious nature of what was behind the walls. And the film totally embraced that dystopian aspect, which was full of adventure, while leaving us wanting to know how that group even ended up there. They kind of flopped with the other films, but this one was just different. So not only did I discover Nightcrawler through Redbox, but I also stumbled upon another film, John Wick, the Baba Yaga.
He was the one you sent to kill the boogeyman.
The character that kept us wanting to learn more about the Assassin's world, eventually creating 4 other films which further solidified John Wick as one of cinema's icons. Now I should also highlight some of the critical acclaimed gems, some of which I didn't have the fondest opinion of. So the film that won the Oscar for Best Picture this year was the great Alejandro Inarritu's Birdman, the one-shot film that the Academy just ate up. The film wasn't my cup of tea, but to be honest I should give it another try. The film ended up giving Inarritu another Oscar for Best Director. The rival to Birdman that year was Boyhood. Like the title suggests, it follows a boy's life from the age of 5 to adulthood, with the actors playing the same characters as they aged in real time. So the film basically took 12 years to complete. Not one of my favorites, but I have to give it a ton of respect. David O. Russell's Foxcatcher got some love, getting some nominations across the board, and the most notable one coming from the unrecognizable Steve Carell. He killed it playing a person who was just completely out of touch with society. There were also some pretty good war/biographical films too, in The Imitation Game and our great Clint Eastwood directing American Sniper, with another fantastic performance from Bradley Cooper. We also had the people's favorite, Wes Anderson, deliver us in my opinion his best work in The Grand Budapest Hotel, a satirical, bombastic piece of filmmaking that introduced many to the filmmaker that offers us symmetrical composition and amazing production designs. Now there are even more notable films from this year I can highlight which many audiences love, but this video would be longer than it should be. But when we have a year that keeps us entertained across many different genres, I only hope that we get a year that offers the same quality and that movie magic as 2014 did.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Okay, I know there's a lot of great film years and I do have maybe some recency bias, but if you have 2 of my top 5 films, it's automatically going to be the best year. So yeah, you guys let me know what your favorite film of 2014 was, if I mentioned it, if I didn't. And I have some thoughts on the other great years of film from like 94, 76, 1999, and then the recent like 2019. So maybe I'll make another video like this, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and it's crazy to me, it's been 10 years, a decade since 2014. And it's absolutely absurd, but thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and check out some of my other film content if you want, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers guys, have a good one.